Hi and welcome to this presentation about doing business in Germany. My name is Jennifer Stenmark and I will guide you through this presentation. Here is a short overview of the contents of this presentation. So let's dig deeper into the business context of this country. Die Bundesrepublik Deutschland, or Germany in English, is a federal republic with 16 states. In the parliament there are 206 seats, and the government with the head chancellor Olaf Scholz is formed by three parties with diverse ideas, which is in a historical context is very rare for this country, and it has made it more ambiguous politically. However, in comparison with Spain, it's very politically stable. According to Doing Business, it ranks 80 out of 100 on the score. The country with a population of over 80 million people is defined as an attractive, cosmopolitan and culturally diverse country with a mix of Christian values and progressive, liberal and inclusive attitudes. Even though Germany is a very traditional country, it has very modern liberal thoughts towards, for example, gender equality. Germans are very passionate about nature, and so also in their politics. With electrical cars at forefront and implementation of renewable energy, the country is on its way towards sustainability. However, it's still very dependent on coal as in their energy, which is a con in this aspect. Also to mention, Germany is one of the most socially responsible countries in the world. The GDP per capita in Germany is 50% more than in Spain, so in these terms it's a very rich country. Obviously the GDP went down between 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID pandemic. Also the inflation rate went up due to the war and the pandemic. It has a more stable economy than Spain, as it's less touristic and more industrial. Also, that is why unemployment is as low as 3.5% in 2021. As in the rest of Europe, oil prices are increasing. Machinery, automotive industries, also chemical and medical industries, service, energy and electronics are the main industries of this country. As in most advanced economies, the service sector is the largest, even though the production industry which stands for 23.5% of the sexual structure of the country, is very high in comparison to, for example, their neighbor France that has only 10%. Cars, parts and medicaments are the most important, both for exports and imports. Also, we can see a trade surplus in Germany year after year. In 2021, this was 170 million euros. The pros of this country is mainly that it's a very advanced mature economy, but that it's also growing and has more potential. It is interesting to companies that want to explore the service or sustainability sector, as well as industrial companies. On the other hand, it has cons, as the company should adapt to this innovative approach and need a lot of know-how to do so. Also, it has a higher political risk due to the war situation in Europe and its more unstable coalition politics. At last, also a con is the cultural distance between Spanish and German people that can cause a risk of misinterpretation. Let's move on to doing business in Germany. Starting a business in Germany. When starting a business in Germany, it is important to know that the procedure is standardized, no matter what kind of legal entity you choose. Also, it's important to sign up for these three taxes here mentioned. If you open a branch office, it's not a legal entity, and you should register it in Handelsregister with its Spanish name, plus Zweigniederlassung, which means German division. Here are the 9 procedures that you have to take in order to start a company in Germany, and it costs about 12,000 euros to do so. To construct a warehouse, it also has 9 legal processes, and it costs about 2 million euros in the Berlin area. Here is an example of an energy company in Germany, which calls Vattenfall, that the price is approximately $26. And there are 3 procedures in order to get installations of the energy in the warehouse. On credits, it ranks higher than Spain on both criteria. The strength of legal rights is quite low, while the depth of credit information is great. And the coverage here is through bureau rather than registry. When dealing with expats, it's to know that European citizens don't need visas. As a resident of Germany, you have to pay German income tax, And the rent in Germany, when you want to fix a house for your expat, is about 1,300 euros, which is higher than in Spain. Also, when talking about medical care, it's important to know that even though the public necessary healthcare is free of charge, you must have a public insurance called Gesetzliche Krankenversicherung in German. When paying taxes, you have to pay 9 times per year, and it takes much more time than, for example, in Spain, and it's more bureaucratic, so it's a harder process, and it's worse in this aspect. Here are also some information about documentary compliance and border compliance to export and import to Germany. Now we'll move on to the cultural aspect of Germany. Here in this Hofstede dimensions, we can see that Germany is a less hierarchical country than Spain. So you don't expect a formal leader that takes all decisions, but co-determination within the team. It is a more individualistic country than Spain. Also, it has more masculine values, such as having a career is more important than personal life in Germany. Both countries do not like uncertainty, which means that structure is preferred. And Germans have a more long-term approach, while Spanish people want benefits faster. Both countries rank quite low here on indulgence, and people are therefore quite restrained in how they act. So how are business negotiations in Germany? Germany is a task-oriented country, so there is no need to getting to know a person before getting down to business. No one will trust you from the beginning, however, but you must achieve trust by being a great and loyal business partner on the long term. In general, you should be less dramatic, more calm and quiet when you talk with Germans. For example, by speaking slowly, you show authority. And on meetings, it's important to be punctual and use business cards, have well-structured presentations. Also, sometimes small talk is avoided on meetings in order to be effective. Here are some warnings and musts when you deal with Germans. So let's get down to the final recommendations. It's important to do a great market research before you're entering an advanced market, so that's important. Adapt yourself to the Germans and don't expect them to adapt to you. Do not lag it behind with innovation, as it's important to have know-how to enter in Germany and to be accompanied here. And you always respect the Germans' punctuality and do not feel bad if they are very direct to you with their opinions, but because they don't mean to be mean, they are just like that. So well, that was all of this presentation. Thank you for listening.